match. I'm Sydney Dukes.
And I'm Mia Coyle, and we're with CNN Sports to give you a step-by-step recap of the monumental brawl between the USA and the USSR.
The feud began between these two fighters just after the First World War, as they both emerged as the world's superpowers. They have been duking it out for the #1 spot ever since.
The deal was that the United States firmly opposed the communist nature of the USSR, and Russia was beginning to have some space exploration, and the launching of Sputnik caused the USA to feel threatened and began hatching up a plan to retaliate and beat the USSR at their own game, for the sake of democracy.
The space race began in 1957 when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first artificial Earth satellite. Less than a month later, they launched Sputnik 2, which carried a small dog named Laika into orbit.
But then we saw America retaliate with a punch back. Explorer 1, which was the first American satellite to reach orbit. And Explorer 2 was also launched, we saw, by America, but failed to reach the orbit. After the USSR launched Sputnik 3, the USA formed the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA for short, in order to rise above Russia in the space race. With NASA, they launched Pioneer 1 to a shocking 70,000 miles above the Earth's atmosphere.
The fight continued in 1959 when the Soviet Union punched back with Luna 1, the first man-made object to orbit the Sun. The U.S. soon launched Pioneer 4, and NASA selected the Mercury 7 astronauts. Later on that year, the Soviet Union pulled ahead after launching Luna 2, the first man-made object to orbit the Moon. They served yet another punch by launching Luna 3, which photographed 70% of Moon's surface.
In 1961, we saw John F. Kennedy address Congress and urge the U.S. and challenge them to get to the Moon by the end of the decade. The Moon was the new goal in this fight.
After a series of U.S. successes, President Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. Now
that's what I call a punch combo, am I right, Sydney?
Woo!
In 1964, after President Kennedy's assassination, Ranger 7 transmitted the first close-range images of the Moon. Additionally, in 1964, the U.S. was focusing a lot of their government money into NASA in order to give Russia that final punch, that final KO.
But in 1965, the Soviet Union retaliated once again, holding the title of the first astronaut to perform a spacewalk for 12 minutes.
Man.
Wow.
The USSR, they just never stop kicking, do they now? However, in 1969, the USA finally delivered that final knockout punch by successfully landing the first people on the Moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind! Woo!
USA! 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 USA!
Hey.
This has been CNN's live broadcast of the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States of America. For more information, visit thespacerace.com for a full timeline of events.
Man, that was one hell of a fight. Lasted 15 years or so.
Stay tuned for our interview with the victor, the USA.
After the break.
Hi, this is Sydney Dukes here once again with CNN Sports. I'm here with the United States of America after her monumental victory in the space race against the Soviet Union. Congratulations again. So tell me, how did this feud begin in the first place? Thanks, Sydney. I'm so happy to be here. Well, my rivalry against the USSR began shortly after the war, where we emerged as the two superpowers of the world. Obviously, since I had a democratic government and the USSR was communist, this created tension and major competitive energy, hence the Cold War. Anyways, I got pretty spooked when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik because my people feared that Soviet military control over space would be pretty bad. Interesting. So why was it so important for you to win this space race in the first place? Well, it was important for me to win because I'm America, duh. I stand for democracy. I needed to beat the USSR to show the rest of the world that democracy triumphs over communism. And once JFK gave my people the goal to set foot on the moon, we just had to do it by the end of the decade. So yeah, that's basically it. And what do you think it was that helped you pull ahead and win this race? USA! 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 Okay, so I am afraid we're all out of time for this segment. Thank you so much for your time, USA. I'll see you next time on CNN Sports as I cover the USA's next match against Vietnam. I'm Sydney Dukes. Back to you, Mia.